What is up, everybody, to the nations worldwide? I'm your host, Mike Pletz, and we are live for another episode of our blogcast, where we're covering our South Africa trip from start to finish and all of our blog posts that you can find in the link. You can find this one. We're talking about driving through South Africa and what you need to know to be safe and to follow all the driving tips that we give you for driving through South Africa. Now, you can catch our replays on our YouTube channel. You can find that in the description. Our last episode, we talked about our road trip planning and our itinerary. It was a 13-day road trip from Cape Town to Durban, and we talked about how we planned our trip, how we went about that. You can find all of our stops and everything that we're going to cover in our South Africa series. So today, we're going to be talking about should you rent a car to drive through South Africa, what you should know when driving through South Africa, and a little bit of ways to be safe when driving through South Africa. So be sure to follow along on our Facebook page. Be sure to give us a like, and you can catch all the replays, like I said, on our YouTube channel. So, should you rent a car to drive through South Africa? Well, this is entirely up to you and what you feel comfortable with. If you prefer to use public transportation, there's lots of it in the bigger cities in South Africa and even between bigger cities. And if you want to travel like a local and be amongst the locals, I've heard it was an amazing experience for many people, and it is safe. Buses are cheap, and they'll take you through main destinations. The problem with this is, and why we chose to rent our own car and drive through South Africa, is that you are stuck on the bus's schedule. You're stuck on the transportation schedule, and that's not something that we like when we're traveling. We like to have our own schedule and not be worried about when the next bus leaves or when the next public transportation is leaving. It can throw off your entire day if you miss something. So just renting a car or renting a vehicle is just so much easier. Driving is so much more comfortable for us. Let us know about you. Do you prefer to drive, or do you prefer to take and use public transportation when you go traveling? Let us know in the comments. But we just prefer renting our own vehicle because we get our own schedule. Time frames are really important to us. We like to know how long it's going to take us to get from point A to point B, and that being totally up to us. So this was our decision. This was a major decision when choosing to rent a vehicle to drive through South Africa. So it was a no-brainer for us. Now, what should you know when you're driving through South Africa? So say you've gone and you've weighed your options, public transportation or renting a vehicle, and you've said you want to rent a vehicle and you want to drive through South Africa. What do you need to know? Well, we are from Canada. We drive on the right side, but in South Africa, they drive on the left side. So this is a little bit of an adjustment, but if you have somebody like Natalie was beside me, letting me know every once in a while that, remember, you're driving on the left side. We only hit a few curbs at the beginning, but once your spatial awareness kicks in, it's pretty easy. The other thing, is that lots of their vehicles are standard or manual gear. So if you have not driven standard or manual gear before, be sure to message or get in touch with the rental agency for your vehicle and let them know that you would like an automatic vehicle, because having to adjust to driving on the left side and driving standard with the opposite hand that you usually would can be two major adjustments. And especially if you haven't driven standard or manual before, you want to make sure that they're reserving an automatic transmission vehicle for your drive in South Africa. So book in advance and then let them know that you do want a automatic transmission vehicle. It can actually cost a little bit more, but safety is definitely worth paying that little bit extra. Now, driving on the highways in South Africa, it's 120 kilometers per hour, which is different again from Canada, which is mostly 100. So you'll notice that lots of people, they drive whatever is comfortable for them in South Africa. Some drive a little bit slower, some drive a little bit faster. But it is courteous to, from what I noticed, that in one lane highways to move over a little bit to the shoulder, as long as it's paved and you're comfortable, for the person behind you to pass you, because they might want to go much more faster. Also, leading into our next point, a GPS really helps with approaching towns. Cameras will catch you speeding, and then they'll send you the bill later to your rental car company, and then they'll forward you on that bill after your trip, which can be a real bummer. So a GPS will notify you when one of those cameras is coming up. You need to slow down, and so get a GPS is our next point. It's so worth it, especially driving in a country that you are not too familiar with. Just get that GPS. Much easier getting from point A to point B and letting you know when those cameras are coming up. Not that you should be speeding or anything, but toll highways, there's several toll highways. We experienced this not so much from Cape Town to Durban, but north of Durban, there was lots of toll roads, toll highways. So make sure that you have a little bit of spare change handy. It cost us a little bit. We went from Durban to St. Lucia, actually to Richards Bay, then St. Lucia. There's a little bit of toll roads there. It cost us probably about $10 US to get from point A to point B there. So just know that there are toll highways in South Africa and to plan your route accordingly. So our last tip about driving is plan your trip, plan your driving in advance. We asked our hosts, our Airbnb hosts, every time we came to one, asked them about our route, if it's safe, if there's anything we should know. For the most part, we didn't go on any gravel roads. There was one point where we did go to a traditional lodge, a traditional village, and there was a really long gravel road. But other than that, we were completely safe on paved roads, really well kept and maintained. It was really a really good driving experience in South Africa. So this comes to our next point and our final point, safety in South Africa. Without getting too deep in the issue of safety in South Africa, it is imperative that you know that whenever you are traveling, you should remain safe, you should remain vigilant, you should understand where you are, understand your surroundings, and just be cautious anywhere you travel in the world. Now, first and foremost, we never felt danger in South Africa. There was, I know the capital of South Africa, Johannesburg, is one of the most dangerous cities in the world, but we did not go there. We went from Cape Town to Durban, a little bit north of Durban even, and we never felt we were in a dangerous situation whatsoever. It was completely safe. That's not to say that it's going to be safe for everybody. Just if something doesn't feel right, something feels like you shouldn't be there, chances are it's not too safe, or you should probably try to avoid it. So it never hurts to understand your surroundings, know where you are when you are traveling, and just be safe. That's the best way to be safe, is to just plan your trip ahead, have that GPS, know where you're going, ask your hosts. We never drove after sunset. There was one point where we got pretty close, but we found our Airbnb just in time. So don't drive after sunset. This is an issue of safety, and there's also lots of animals in South Africa, lots of wild animals that can come on the road, and you may not be able to react in time. So it's an issue of safety for yourself, safety for those around you, safety for your vehicle, because you don't want to pay a very ridiculous amount of money on your trip for an accident. So this is our experience driving in South Africa. Overall, it was completely positive. We really enjoyed our time renting our vehicle. I hope that this helps you when you are planning your trip to South Africa. If you are going to rent your vehicle, or if you do choose on public transportation, we'd love to hear how that went. And even if you rented a car, how did that go for you driving in South Africa? What was your route? Why did you take that route, and everything? You can catch this replay on our Facebook page, or in our playlist on our YouTube channel. All of our social media accounts in our YouTube channel is in the description. Hope everyone has a great day. Happy travels. Thank you.